Well, Coach, it's kind of like, when you play a scrimmage, the offense struggles a little bit, but the defense maybe makes some plays. What do you take away? Do you take away like, hey, I like what I'm seeing on my defense?
I've really liked our energy level, again today and all spring. You can tell we have a bunch of guys back, the way they're playing together. We were running the ball real well and we're being pretty physical. Still missing a lot of tackles, which was a point that we're trying to clean up from the fall, so we're not there yet. But our depth got better this spring. You saw, instead of having 2 corners, I think you saw 4 and 5 corners battling. And that was an issue we needed to address. We got a little bit more depth at safety. Some of those young guys are playing pretty good. So there's a lot of positives to draw out of it. Forget the one day. I think that we defined ourselves again. I think we said, we gotta be fast, we gotta be physical, we gotta get our butts to the ball. And over the course of spring, that's what we were at the end. So I was pretty happy with it.
How different does it feel? Whereas in the fall, it was almost like the defense was an afterthought because of how good the offense was, and still not so much now.
Right. If the defense was an afterthought for me, I'd be in trouble because that's what they're paying me to do. So the numbers are easy to blank out what we do on defense because they're so special on offense. But we always feel like we got to win games on defense, regardless of what's happening on the offensive side of the ball, regardless of what the scoreboard's saying. And I think the first year we were certainly capable of doing that. I think last year, midway through the year, we were able to get people out of their game plan, but I don't know that we were always winning games on defense. I feel that that's back to where we are now. I feel like we're dictating more tempo with our knowledge base. We're able to blitz a little bit more, a little bit differently. And it feels good to have a defense that is they're not out there waiting for somebody else to make a play like we did it sometimes at the end of last year. We got a bunch of guys that feel like they can go out and make the play.
You sound I don't know, excited that this is, how nice is it to feel, to have all these guys back and really feel like you can do more with them probably?
I'm as excited. I'm always excited. Y'all see me. There's a fine line between excitement and being a clown. But I'm fired up about this group. The day that season ended last year, we wanted to come and fix what was wrong. Our guys knew that during the year things weren't 100% right. No matter where we finished in the league, top 2 or 3 or whatever, we knew that we weren't playing like we should be. And it's really good when you have retention of the guys because the guys that were making those mistakes, you're coaching immediately as last season ended. We started fixing it the day after the season ended. And so you get to see that teaching and all the coaching pay off with those same guys that made those mistakes. So I'm fired up about that. I love our group, man. I feel like we're getting closer and closer to truly having made the change from having been a 4-3 defense to a 3-4. I think we're probably mid-year, when we get our next mid-year class, and going to be all the way over the transition from being a 4-3 to a 3-4. And that's really cool, too, because you don't feel like your guys are playing out of position. You don't feel like you're having to turn an end into a backer or a backer into an end to make things right. When your depth chart's where you want it, and you feel like you're playing with 22 to 30 guys, it's really fun to coach. I feel like we can win games on defense. I think our 11 and our first 22 can play against anybody we're going to play.
Coach, are there any spots that are up for grabs that maybe somebody who comes in the fall could potentially win a job, or do you pretty much know how you want it to shake out right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. We always tell you, everyone's always going to tell you that all 11 jobs are up for grabs. Carl Mickelson probably ain't getting beat out, though. Tyler Davidson probably ain't getting beat out, though. If you are, then shoot, we really do have a really special defense. Our cornerbacks, as good as they did this spring, we didn't truly establish the 2 flat-out ballers that are going to start every game. I think we're still fighting that battle. We have a bunch of really good players there. I think we have 4 or 5 guys that can start at a lot of places in our league, but I don't think we have a true starter yet, so those positions are going to be up for grabs. Our defensive end position was a good battle, with Todd Hunt and Nate Madsen and Claudel Lewis, and we moved Tyler there. There's a bunch of good competition there. And I think you'll see a little bit more competition at the Sam linebacker job with Brandon Hughes and Edery and a couple of guys like that. So we still have some jobs that are not solidified, but particularly the corners.
Speaking of the corners, Jamal had the pick 6 and Curtis looked as confident as I've seen him out here. How much of those 2 progressed especially?
I'm proud of him. I'm proud of Kurt. I'm proud of what he's done mentally. Kurt was thrown into a bind. We brought Kurt in the day before the first practice. He had no contact with our team. We threw that guy into the fire and expected him to be a seasoned veteran. And we play against some real people in our league every season. So for him to respond, a guy could have came out of that shell shocked, not wanting to compete, not wanting to get embarrassed. At times he got embarrassed last year, not wanting to do it again. And he's really done a good job get out here doing it in the spring. He's gotten better. He's not just worried about, hey, I'm trying to do my job. I'm trying to be the best guy in the field is what he was doing every day. So I'm happy with him mentally. Really happy with where Jamal is. Still got to be a little bit more physical there. Stratton Brown had a really good spring too. So I think what you saw this spring at corner was a result of competition. All of us in our jobs, whatever job you guys are doing, if there's somebody that wants it that's right behind you, you're going to do your job a little bit better, right? When that guy's not there, you're going to ask for that day off sometimes, and our corners, I think, feel like right now they got to fight for it every day.
One last question for Coach.
Yeah, Coach, I was actually going to ask about Riley. What was that process? I mean, you touched on it a little, but you mentioned he was thrown into the fire this past year. What was that process like in the offseason of sort of going through last season and explaining or just trying to get him mentally ready? What were the biggest challenges you faced?
Well, the first thing you've got to tell a guy is, hey, I understand you made a mistake, and we understand why it happened. It didn't happen by accident. It's gone. It's over. We can't fix that. You got to let him know he's going to make 20 more mistakes, and we're still going to be right there with him, so he has confidence. We didn't bring him here to see him fail. We brought him here to develop him and see him succeed. So you got to make sure he's got the knowledge that you're with him, that you're right there with him. When a corner and a DB makes a mistake, it's in front of 40,000 people in God and country on TV. And so you have to make sure that they've got pretty thick skin, and they know that you ain't ever getting yelled at for getting beat deep, right? That ain't what we yell at DBs for. We yell at them for lazy mistakes, not being physical, things like that. You get beat deep, that's part of life. That's that job, right? That's like being the president of the United States. You're at the sharp end of the knife a lot. So we made sure his confidence was where it needed to be. We highlighted very specific things that he needed to fix to be a better football player, right? If you knew you had to fix something in our jobs, any one of our jobs, if you knew what that was, you'd attack that. So we wanted to give him very specific things that he could attack every day, and we did. And he's a hungry dude, man. He's hungry to be a good football player. So that's what we did. And then we just let him go play because he's got some ability.
All right. Coach.